side?
Nope. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Day 4 here at the Jonesboro Open. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined by Steve Dodge, our Disc Golf Pro Tour Director. Steve, looking for a great and exciting final day here.
Yeah, rumor has it that maybe Ricky Wysocki is going to card a 12 on the first hole. I've heard that. And that's going to that'll tighten things up very quickly. And at that point, statistics are going to be very important. But in all seriousness, as we said on day one, when Ricky Wysocki leads after the first round, he finishes it out. And it'll be a good day to see if he can finish his victory lap here.
All right, well, he's got some guys coming after him. In other unrelated news, we noticed this weekend that the top player in the world is not here, Paul McBeth. However, he managed to get himself engaged today. So congratulations to Paul and Hannah. Wow. They were out at Maple Hill, a place you're familiar with, where they met in 2015, and social media tells us that they got engaged. So congratulations to them. So pretty exciting day all around, lots of different players, lots of different action, and I think we can get right to it. Brad Peets, our TD, is on the tee and ready with the call. Let's get to it.
Thank you, Terry. I got to say one last thing. If you're going to miss for one reason, that's a good reason to miss. Here's Brad.
First off of the tee, Ricky Wysocki.
And there's going to have to be at least 13 or 14 putts from there if he's going to 12 this hole. Steve Wysocki with a great drive off the tee.
JohnE McCray.
JohnE McCray second to tee at 450 feet, hole 1. Johnny's turns over. It's fighting the headwind. It's trying to come back out. It's going to be short and right.
Next off of the tee, Simon Lizotte.
And Lizotte with a gentle turn, however, that is fighting nicely. And that's the closest drive we've seen in the last 2 days here on our live broadcast.
Chris Dickerson.
And swapping out Big Germ for Chris Dickerson here on the lead card. That was out of his hands high. We're feeling a tailwind as he releases that, even though there was a headwind when it started. Let's see how the women did earlier on hole number 1. Chris Dickerson will be first to throw from the left side of the tee, left side of the fairway. And we see the wind pushing on that. He's going to be inside the circle, but still left with 20 feet elevated on one. And JohnE McCray, known as a very fast player, steps right up from outside circle 2. Circle 2's edge, about 60 feet. And Chris is going to open up with a bogey here on hole number 1. Wysocki is all the way in, and it pops out. It gets up and rolls just a few feet. He'll have to tap in from there. And McCray is just over the rim of the basket. Lizotte left with a very short putt. And Simon with the only bogey. All right, we'll see you back with you in a few minutes from the tee.
If I lay up, I get a personal best. But if I hit the putt, it's a new course record.
And Wysocki had found the tree on the right-hand side. He has a forehand out. Goes just past the 250-foot marker. He'll be left with just a little over 200 feet, slightly uphill. Dickerson slightly overstable. It's going to finish out nicely, just long of the basket. And JohnE McCray's is to the right. He's fighting with a headwind here coming up the alleyway here leading toward the basket. Simon with the longest drive of the group. He'll be throwing fourth. Simon looks like he had a little maneuvering with his feet there, shuffling. We'll have a look from there. Steve, when we opened the round, you had made the joke that Wysocki would need some kind of collapse here, and right after Simon tapped in for the birdie on hole 1, he looked at me and he said, just 7 more to go, as in he's only down 7 now.
He might be ready to say 6 more in just a minute. And the one thing I think about, it's getting kind of windy here. When these guys are throwing towards the basket, I never know which side of the basket to go to when I play. Are they going for, like, they want to put into the wind? They want to put with the wind? What do they generally want to do?
Every player's a little bit different, but more often than not, they're looking for a tailwind. A headwind is the least favorable. I think one of the 2 crosswinds they could deal with as well, but tailwind is usually the best position if you can actually maneuver yourself into one of those positions.
So right now we're throwing into a headwind for the most part. He's going to want to go past the basket.
I think that's how that works. We'll see where he lands. McCray from 55 is just short. Gave it a good run, even though he had a very obstructed view. Birdie opportunity for Simon. Lizotte hits left chain and drops out. We thought that he might be picking up another one on the leader here. However, that's going to slip past him. Yesterday, he had missed his first putt inside the circle for the entire weekend. And today here on our second hole, he's already missed one of his opportunities in the first 2 holes. And Dickerson cleans up for the birdie. I can guarantee you at least once today he will get a full-blown fake on one of our cameramen. He takes a few wind-ups usually in his routine. I know he's faked me out before while working a camera. Ricky taps in, Johnny taps in. We're moving to hole 3.
Disc Golf Center is your #1 choice for discs, accessories, and low prices. With free shipping within the U.S. on all orders over $12, discounts from our customer rewards program, and the ability to pick out the exact weight and color disc you want from our live inventory of over 20,000 options. You'll find exactly what you're looking for. Visit discgolfcenter.com, the world's largest disc golf store.
Hole number 3 at 435 feet. Looks as if the wind pushed over Chris Dickerson's tee shot here. And a mistake here by Lizotte. He hits the first tree available off the tee on the right-hand side. He has not gotten past the shorter tee that we see here on hole 3. And Johnny's gets a wind lift about halfway down the fairway. It's carrying toward the pin. We'll see if he can reach it. And parks it. JohnE McCray just a few feet past the pin. And that release looked low. He's hoping for the same wind lift. It seems to be just hanging and comes up short. Let's see how the women performed on hole 3 earlier. We'll get to them in just a moment. First, let's check in with Simon. Normally we move right to the women's action. However, with Simon throwing his approach shot, we'll get that. Now we can move on and check in with the women. Simon's going to play out to the right where the hyzer. He's looking for that to push left. It's doing so, and he should be able to clean up from there. Let's see how the women did from the shorter tee on 3. As Chris approaches, we feel a deadening of the wind here on this green. It felt like it was in our face on the tee. We walked just a few hundred feet, and there was almost no wind to be felt up here. Wysocki is just outside circle one. And a very rare air ball by Wysocki is almost never seen, especially within a range where he's so deadly, anywhere within circle one or circle two for that matter. And Wysocki will have to settle for a par here, off to a very slow start. I'm not going to say that Steve Dodge jinxed him, but some might say that. Birdie for McCray. And Lizotte. He'll tap it for his par save. We had seen previously 6 pars and 6 birdies on this hole. Today, 3 pars and 1 birdie. We're moving on to hole 4. We're clear, John. Yep. And McCray, after the lone birdie on hole number 3, has the honors here. Goes straight up the middle on this 400 on this 4th hole, 585 feet. Dickerson's is going right. He's hoping that to fade back toward the fairway. In 12 opportunities from these gentlemen, we've seen 10 birdies carded. And Simons is short and left. And a disc swap here by Wysocki before he tees and hits a very early tree. We'll start by giving you some of the women's coverage until we catch up to Ricky's second shot.
Nice shot there.
And Wysocki looking to make up for the short drive, which hit a tree on the right side. He'll be short as well here on the approach, but a makeable putt from there. We'll move up the fairway. We'll take a look at the scores as we get in position for Simon Lizotte's second shot. Simon has almost 250 feet to the pin. He's throwing from one knee. He's landed outside circle one. He's going to have a long putt. We'll see if he can still catch a birdie here on this fourth hole. You'll see McCray throwing that putter for approaches throughout the day. He does so effortlessly. Throwing that very commonly inside 300 feet. Seems to be a small search party here for Chris Dickerson's shot. By far the furthest drive I have seen all weekend here, and it comes from Chris Dickerson today. This hole is listed at 585 feet, and he is right and almost pin high with it. Very impressive drive. During round two, we saw Simon Lizotte make a putt from almost the exact distance where we see both him and Simon at the moment. Lizotte's effort catches the wind and is up and over the basket. And Wysocki back on point with a great putt from outside the circle that brings him to 31% from circle two putts. Of course, all our stats and information coming from UDisc Live. I also do some mega computing in my brain to read these stats to you. All right, maybe I'm not that talented. Simon Lizotte is in. Short putt here for JohnE McCray for his birdie. I believe that will move JohnE McCray into sole possession of second place at 28 under. We've got the gorgeous hole 5 in just a moment.
To me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
JohnE McCray has the tee. I'm trying to spit that all out in one breath. I believe that's the same putter we saw him with a few minutes ago. And perfectly placed. It's come up. This has an OB area between the keen wall. And players can either opt for going out over both of the keen walls to try and land on the green, or as you saw McCray come up short of the first wall and then simply pitch over to the second green. Feel a slight tailwind at the moment. Overcast skies. There is a threat of rain and thunderstorms here today. It looks like it may just blow past us. Chris opts for the low route. The players would like to be as far to the right as possible just to make it a little bit easier on their approach shot.
So Jeremy Colling birdied this the first 3 days, and he did not birdie it today. He was saying that if he did birdie all 3 or 4 days, that would make his weekend. He didn't get it.
Big Jerm. He did find himself representing an ace effort on SportsCenter last night, though. We'll talk about that a little later. Simon Lizotte is going for it. Looks like he's got the distance. Will it stay clean? And he is all the way at the basket and safe. Let's see how the pro women attacked this hole earlier today. And Wysocki with a very simple hyzer out and over. Plays it to within 20 feet of the pin. Dickerson goes just inside the single tree. He also goes a little bit deep here. JohnE McCray will have a very easy approach. He's going to be able to give this a long jump putt. It's even at a slight incline behind the basket, so he can be very aggressive with this. Here comes a turbo putt. And the patented turbo putt attempt here by McCray. All of us will move to the other side of the
spectators could stay on this side.
OB area now. And Simon Lizotte has opted to wait for the second card, who is now on hole number 7. There on hole number 7. He's going to wait for the possible distraction for them to go ahead and tee off. Big Germ sporting his brightest pink, so very recognizable. And in the weirdest of fashions, that gets up on edge, somehow rolls straight through the basket. I am very perplexed how that happened. And no doubt there by Chris Dickerson. And Ricky Wysocki puts it into the center of the chains, just a hair high, and somehow it pops right back out at him. The other night I was talking to Simon Lizotte about the speed in which Wysocki putts, and that is exactly what we were referencing.
You see Simon shaking his head, thinking, I almost gained 2 more strokes on him. Would have gone to 28 to 34.
And Lizotte will tap in. We're moving on to hole 6, looking for another Sports Center moment.
For driving with power or into a headwind, Vibram designed a distance driver with amazing glide and a strong, predictable fade. It is the ideal disc for big arms, forehand drives, and smooth right-to-left finishes. Introducing the O-Lace from Vibram. Durability, grip, performance.
And welcome back. We are here on the tee of hole number 6. Steve, we're going to wait for JohnE McCray to tee off, and then we'll talk about what we've been seeing. McCray goes with a backhand. He may be the only competitor to do so. Yesterday he was parked. Today, just the same.
When the women played this hole this morning, as we're about to see on the highlights, the flick was getting pushed right to left. On the tee, they don't feel it as much, but you can see it clearly in the ripples in the water. Another fun fact, everybody in this card has birdied it all 3 days.
And Dickerson goes with a backhand that's scooting up and over. Will get across, and it does. He's left inside the circle. Lizotte with a forehand, and we'll see the same from Wysocki. That's coming in short, but checks up nicely. The backdrop here is a great opportunity for these players to be aggressive and go right for the pin.
Ricky Wysocki has more bogeys this round than he has the other 3 rounds combined.
And that is hooking up at the last moment. We've got a walk. We'll check in with the women here on hole 6. Stay tuned for live disc golf on Disc Golf Pro Tour. Todd, you want to stay right here?
Boda.
Okay, never mind. And Dickerson remains perfect throughout the weekend here, 4 for 4 on hole number 6. And Wysocki telling it just to get in and stay in. At some point, you got to wonder if he's going to be a little bit tentative on his putting stroke after he's seen so many solid putts come back at him. Wysocki and Lizotte also 4 for 4 on the weekend. JohnE McCray can make it a perfect frame for all 4 competitors. "16 chances and 16 birdies. Hole 6, my kind of hole."
What did you just do?
I'm stamping this misprint.
Yeah, but you triple stamped the double stamp.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Can too.
Cannot.
Can too.
Cannot.
Can too.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't. Eric!
Guys, enough!
You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Just do it!
Welcome back to hole number 7 The honors will remain the same with 4 birdies from hole 6. I believe we are clear and ready to go on 615-foot hole number 7. Just coming over the hillside is JohnE McCray, a low shot. And using a full run up here is Dickerson. That turns over to the right. It's fading right the entire way, and it does not come back.
I am surprised by how far Chris Dickerson can throw. There's a lot of things I didn't know, and that's one less thing now.
Lizotte also can throw far, Steve. Just giving you an update there. And Wysocki on the back of the box. We'll see if he can get back in his rhythm here.
So, in the 12 times these 4 guys have played this hole, 10 birdies, 2 pars. The rest of the field is split up 50-50 with birdies and pars.
Wow. And Wysocki seems to have let go early, catching a tree on the left side. So a challenging approach from there. Let's see what the women did on hole 7. And McCray is first to throw. Next will be Ricky Wysocki. He's got a forehand from the left side of the fairway.
Left side.
Good position. Steve, you talked about some putts. He's had some woes today. Is that what your stats tell you?
So coming into this round, Ricky was number 1, circle 1 putts, right around 95%, which, as we all know, is 190 out of 200. Today, Ricky's had 2 of his putts come right back out at him. It has dropped him down to 3rd in circle 1 putting at 93%. So not only is it hurting his score, it's hurting his stats and his ability to become the putting champion of the Pro Tour. Here's Chris Dickerson's second shot.
How much does the putting champion of the Pro Tour earn?
Last year there was a bill in there, but I'm not going to disclose the amount of the bill.
Dickerson has a forehand. It looks like he is down and right of the pin. He might be able to play this left to right crosswind. Puts it high in the air, and it is going to fade toward the pin right side. However, it comes up just short. And Simon, no surprise with the longest drive in the group. Simon will approach 4th. He's also lining up a forehand. gets on edge and skips to the right. Simon may have wanted to play that a little further left. The pace has been outstanding all week long for our competitors, not just for the lead card, but throughout. With a slightly smaller field, we were able to go off at 15-minute intervals, which has controlled the pace nicely for the players this week, and giving us a little bit of a smoother flow on the broadcast and for the players.
You 100% right there, and I'm going to go ahead and say Brad Peets, the TD, really can't give him enough kudos. Recognizing that he had an opportunity to try something different, extended the amount of time between the tees, and this flow has been fantastic. You mentioned how much does a putting champion get. We actually have 5 categories that we give statistical championships to at the end of the season, and I wonder if these guys in a couple of seasons are going to start caring about that kind of thing. Here's Chris Dickerson for birdie.
And light on the touch from about 40 feet by Chris Dickerson. That means we have 10 birdies in 13 opportunities thus far. My math skills have really honed in here in Arkansas this week. And Simon Lizotte not going to let Ricky get any more strokes here. He's going to keep on pace for hole number 7. Rick always has a slight pause whenever he throws a putt. Again, something we talked about the other night. He putts with such authority, even from a short distance. He always seems to hesitate, and today he's had good reason to, as you've seen 2 relatively short putts come back at him. Dickerson is in. We'll get into position in hole 8 in a moment. We'll see a great shot from around the corner. We're through 7 right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Welcome back to hole number 8 here in our final round at the Jonesboro Open. We've got a great card here with our current world champion, Ricky Wysocki, on the tee. He had a 9-stroke lead going into today. However, a few early mishaps have at least given a little bit of hope to the rest of the card mates. JohnE McCray with a turnover putter here on hole number 8, which is blind from the tee. That's tracking toward the basket and 10 feet past JohnE McCray.
Yesterday, Terry, Johnny got about 20 feet away, just past it, and you said, I can't imagine him getting any closer. He got 5 feet away this time. 70% of the time, people are getting in circle 1 on this. 86% of the time in circle 2. Yesterday, we saw Simon with this roller, and it went way past. And
today, way short. And in round one, I saw a heroic putt by Dave Felberg and by Devin Owens. And Simon will have to dial in every bit of those heroics to try and make a putt from in there. Again, I have to second guess his decision making on throwing the roller there. And Wysocki misfires. It may break through. It's tough for us to see from here, but Wysocki fires short and into the trees. Back to back, less than impressive shots by Lizotte and Wysocki.
Chris Dickerson is 2 for 3 on the birdie on this hole. You think he can reach it?
Well, we haven't seen all of his forehand skills just yet, but I think we're in for a treat here. And certainly the distance, looks like the angle, he's past the basket, it's fighting back, up and over, and he's going to be deep putting down. Let's see how the women performed earlier on hole 8. We have moved on to the green here on hole number 8. Now some overcast skies remain. Again, we'll have to take a look at the weather. We're hoping that it's going to push past us here today. It definitely was en route. However, it seems to have taken a slight shift to the north. And north of the pin right here is Chris Dickerson. He's outside circle 1, looking straight down back at the basket. It's not that fast of a green. He's going to be aggressive with this putt. Not sure if that was a tentative motion or not. There seemed to be a little wobble in his putt, which is not something I've seen in the past. Wysocki is pin high on the right side of the basket. It looks like he's got a window from his knee.
I was about to ask you if putting into 2 cameras would throw somebody off. Wysocki, I think, did the best he could at that point.
And Wysocki actually looks like he may have placed his hand forward. I think he could have in fact been called for a falling putt from my vantage point. It looked like he had placed his hand in front of him after that putt. No one made the call. He's got an uphill putt now from 20 feet. Center chains and pull for Wysocki.
I think he's 2 for 4 on par putts so far.
And Lizotte getting further than we could see from the tee area, also about 20 feet. And he converts. Dickerson is in, and finally JohnE McCray will putt last. Dry first, putt last. And now he's within 5 of Wysocki. We're heading to hole 9. Hole 9 at 750 feet is laced here off the tee by JohnE McCray. That is a perfect position in a flat area here. Great shot by McCray.
I was about to ask where these guys want to place it, and then Johnny threw it there. That's easy.
And Simon clips a tree branch right side. We'll see where that's going to finish. Took quite a bit off. Still in a good position. And Wysocki hoping that to move just a bit to the right. He'll be setting up for a forehand shot from there. As he plays up and over the blind hillside. Fourth to tee, Chris Dickerson. Chris plays for the turnover. We'll see where that can finish. Plenty of power. We're moving up the fairway. We'll be back with you in a moment after the women's coverage on hole 9. And welcome back. We are ready to go here with the approach shots on hole 9. I've confirmed with Steve Dodge, if you are interested in getting a silly pint of your own, you can head out to the store found on dgpt.com. And a low shot here, backhand by Simon Lizotte. He's going to hopefully play for a skip there. As that came over, we are standing directly behind the competitors. I do not have eyes on exactly where these are landing. Sounds as if Simon is in fact inside the circle. And Wysocki's forehand also tracking toward the pin. And Chris Dickerson has about the same distance we just saw from Lizotte and Wysocki. In fact, JohnE McCray is of a similar distance. So it's really just about angle for which player is throwing first here. Dickerson will be second from last to throw here. This is playing as the third most difficult hole on the course. Understandably, especially with this blind approach shot to a sloping green. I see that Dickerson is approximately 300 feet from the pin. With an uphill run-up, which can be very challenging. Seems as if Dickerson has gone just a bit long, looking for a little assist from a tree up near the pin. McCray's is coming up and over, also on the right side, hits off the tree, and it's going to be short by about 40 feet. We'll be back with you in a moment as we're moving down to the fairway on 9. I believe JohnE McCray was in almost the exact same position yesterday. He looks to be about 45 feet from the pin. And the trees and obstruction between him and the basket, it's closer to him than the pin. Another turbo attempt, and that sits down. McCray will be taking a par 4 here. Chris Dickerson approximately 10 feet outside circle 1.
So Chris is only 5% from circle 2. I don't know his exact statistics when he's on his knees in circle 2, but this would be an opportunity to make a heck of a shot or to do a layup.
was a good run, however, does not draw medal. I think his percentage will actually go down at that point. Is that how that works?
It may not go down noticeably, but it will. One interesting, fun fact about Chris: this is his sixth round on the Pro Tour. He has a 0% OB rate. He leads the tour in OB, not going OB, I suppose.
Keeping it between the lines for Chris Dickerson. And left side chain out. I really had to think about that. Ricky Wysocki thought he had it. It looked good coming out of his hands.
I was wondering if Ricky was going to lay that up with a 5-stroke lead with 9 to go after this hole. Maybe it's time to start playing safe, but Ricky doesn't think so.
And with authority, Lizotte puts in for the birdie 3. That brings him within 5. I know we've said some pretty bold things here, Steve, but right now I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying this is really only obtainable right now by JohnE McCray or Simon Lizotte. Anyone's going to catch Ricky, it's going to be one of those two. Chris Dickerson is sitting back at 26 under par along with Nico LaCastro and Louis Bitney. However, the only real chances here are for McCray and Lizotte. We're moving to the back 9 right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the Jonesboro Open.
Are you obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose the brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to DiscGolfBoxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to DiscGolfBoxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
Flashlight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flash Flight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
Hey there, I'm AJ Risley. We're out here in Jonesboro, Arkansas at the beautiful disc side of heaven for the 4th stop on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And I just want to say happy Easter to everybody out there, especially my mom back home in San Marcos. Love you, Mom.
Hitting a very early tree of an overhanging branch here is Simon Lizotte. He's going to have some serious work to do. I believe they call that a scrambled egg here on Easter. That is not going to be good for Simon Lizotte. He's got a long way to the pin.
One fun thing that Brad did early this morning, he was out here hiding Easter eggs on the course. I saw a couple of Easter egg on some of the girls' chairs that they carry around. and there were some kids walking around following the ladies, and they were running around finding Easter eggs. It was pretty fun to see.
I managed to collect quite a few myself, so I'll be cashing in those prizes a little later. JohnE McCray waiting on the 18th green. He's ready to go. And Johnny, who has birdied this 2 out of 3 times thus far, if he fights through, it looks like it, however, is hung up. And Wysocki's forehand is carrying straight. That's going to skip toward the pin, and he's going to have a great look at birdie from there. This might be a little bit of a momentum shift by Wysocki. That's also going to be short by Chris Dickerson. Let's see how the women did as we start the back 9 here in Jonesboro. And Simon with his back to the... Wow, that is carrying left. Sorry, his back to the hole. And at best, he's going to be able to get up and down and salvage a bogey 4 here. We hope that you are enjoying the coverage from earlier today as we watched the women's round conclude, a very highly contested battle. We watched Jessica Weese, Sarah Hokom, and Paige Pierce throughout the weekend as they all remained on the lead card. I'd like to thank Todd Dodge for going out and getting the footage, along with Steve Dodge, who helped put that together so that we were able to splice that into the afternoon broadcast. Looking forward to seeing more of the women here on tour throughout our live broadcast.
Let's play a little of put yourself in Johnny's shoes, if you would. He's pretty deep in the woods. Ricky's parked. He's up by 5 with 9 to play. If you're Johnny, are you going for that next shot?
First, we'll wait on Simon, who doesn't really have much. He's just trying to get out and hopefully get to the basket. Look like a run. I think he was really just trying to get toward the pin. And what I'll answer with Steve is, I think if Johnny has any chance at putting this in, I think he might be aggressive. However, this has shown to be pretty intense rough over here, and if he may have nothing more than a pitch out at this point, and if he has nothing more than a pitch out, he's just going to have to take his par, move on, hope to strike somewhere else later in the round. You can't give any strokes away here at this point, and I'm not sure what he's got lined up in there, but it doesn't look good.
At what point do you start thinking about the money for second? It's a $400 difference between second and third. At what point do you start thinking about that?
I'm always thinking about it. 2,500. And Johnny is able to get out and at the pin. 2,500 for first place, 1,800 for second, and 1,400 for third here this weekend. And Dickerson from a knee also has really no other options but to lay it up to the Delta Windjammer elevated basket here found on hole number 10. We'd like to thank Delta Windjammer for their support here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And it doesn't get much easier than that for Ricky Wysocki. One of the best drives we've seen all weekend here on hole number 10. JohnE McCray will tap in. They've actually Simon-proofed the next hole, installing a mandatory yesterday, so Simon wasn't able to go to the short left route on the tee of 11. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Dickerson makes sure of his efforts. Simon taps in for the bogey, and we're moving on to hole number 11. Stay tuned from Jonesboro. This is the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Ricky Wysocki is on the tee. We are ready to go on hole number 11. Ricky getting the only birdie on 10. Ricky with the backhand. He's got to keep it clean of that tree. He wants to get around the corner as much as possible. And that looks to be a great shot. Fighting through the trees. JohnE McCray to tee second. JohnE McCray just slightly inside of what we saw from Wysocki's. However, he's going to be rewarded with a much further right to left push.
So Johnny needs to gain 6 strokes in the last 8 holes. On this hole, Ricky's got 3 birdies. On this hole, Johnny's got 1. Ricky can perform here and basically close the door.
And Dickerson heads right for the tree. Looks like it's filtered through. He will be able to get up and down from there. Simon Lizotte to tee fourth. Steve, I've heard they need a new statistic on UDisc, and that's for how often I call people by the wrong names. So far today, I think we're at 0%. Maybe we can have UDisc work on that. And working the right to left bend is Lizotte. Let's hope he doesn't go too far. We'll move down the fairway and see the women on hole number 11.
Oh, wider, wider.
Dickerson with an overstable forehand that is flexing out beautifully. It's going to be just a bit deep, right near circle 1 edge. Steve, I believe we have Jessica Weese out here walking along, who had finished 3rd this weekend. A little spoiler alert, I'm not going to tell you about the top 2. Jessica finished 3rd. She's taking it in the gallery. Her mom is at home watching, wishing we'd have a few less commercials and more women's coverage. We're glad you're tuned in and watching, Sherry. Thanks. It was a pleasure watching the women this weekend, including your daughter, Jessica. Very, very close competition. Here's JohnE McCray. And a rare forehand by McCray. I have to comment, and it comes up short. He's not going to be pushing on Ricky Wysocki with that shot, unfortunately.
I remember talking to Matt Lloyd earlier this morning, and I said, would you give me 100 to 1 odds against Ricky? And he said he would take the Ricky side of that. And I pulled a $10 bill out of my pocket, and he paused. I'm glad he paused right now.
And Wysocki seems to also be short. Again, a blind forehand shot. Lizotte looks to be in great position. The further you get left here off the tee, the easier this approach shot is made. Not so much because of the distance, but because of the angle.
Simon Lizotte with the shortest of the approaches. Fades it in beautifully. Very nice left to right. One thing that I love about playing the same course 4 times in a row, you see people attack this hole, and you start getting used to what they're trying to do, and
until they make a Mando specifically to avoid what you're doing.
So anyway, this is one of those holes. The first day you play it, you're kind of not sure what they're trying to do, and today when they drive, you know pretty well off the bat, okay, they're in trouble or they're not in trouble, and we've got some good looking scrambles about to happen here.
McCray trying to pick his spot. He is in a very challenging position. And he pitches out. He'll be taking a 4, which is par here on hole 11.
I got a trivia question for you, Terry. Which of these players in this tournament has the fewest bogeys so far in this tournament?
Well, I know you said earlier that Ricky has as many today as he had in the previous 3 rounds, actually more today. Dickerson is short and then is rolling back. He was at circle's edge and now finds himself at 26 feet from the pin. To follow up, I'll say that Simon Lizotte is far too aggressive and can get in too much trouble. We'll say he's going to rule him out. Dickerson or McCray? I'd give the nod to McCray. He's pretty darn consistent throughout. And Wysocki with a right-to-left crosswind as he's putting into the open area here on the basket of 11. Dickerson has a little work to do with a slight uphill putt. And short and off the front. Very uncharacteristic hole here for Chris Dickerson. Simon Lizotte has less than 12 feet. Easy, 3Z. Trademark AJ Risley. And JohnE McCray will tap in. We'll have more stats for you on the lengthy hole 12 in just a moment right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
I'm Jay Yeti Redding, and I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter from Jonesboro, Arkansas. All of our fans of disc golf and my friends and family, both up in Iowa and Texas. We're playing amongst some large, beautiful, massive trees, and it's a great day to be alive, and I hope you're having a great day too.
And welcome back. We are here on hole number 12. Ricky Wysocki on the tee. And Wysocki is flirting with the single tree here found out on the fairway. We'll see where that comes down. And after a little plinko, that lands Opie. Wysocki will be throwing, and that tree may still come into play even on his approach shot. Comes a huge crush by Simon Lizotte. And he has put everything into this. There's a left to right wind pushing. However, that is not in the clearing. That looks like it's come up on the right side. Yesterday he went in a similar position. He came out all right. We'll have to see if it happened again today. When Simon goes big like that, he needs to hang it out further left. You'll have to remember that for next year's event. And McCray smooth and steady on the shortcut grass. Thanks to our mowing sponsor this week.
There's a reason he's gone 40 in a row without a bogey.
And Dickerson also puts a good move on this. Wysocki moving down the fairway quickly. He'll be first to throw. Dickerson, thanks to Spartan Mowers for the shortcut grass. Let's see what the women did here on hole 12. And Wysocki goes with a forehand up and over the hillside. You have a little bit of a putt from there looking down the hill. And there's a smattering of players all around the fairway here. We see McCray. Looks like he will be next to Phil. And the gentle turnover by McCray goes just long.
Terry, how many years ago did you and Johnny start doing these broadcasts, or was it just you back in the early days? And when you started, what did you expect? Where were we headed?
Well, it's been a long 3 years, my friend. We're almost 3 years to the day. In fact, where we had started Smashbox as a live production. We're glad to be doing it. We still to this day thank Legacy for helping us get our start. A huge supporter of disc golf. And now covering the best players in the world every other weekend here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Of course, it's been quite an honor, and working with both you and the PDJ and everyone else that we've worked with, it's been a lot of fun. Simon Lizotte, Ricky Wysocki, Paul McBeth putting on a show for us just about every weekend. And Lizotte ultimately goes with a forehand roller to try and find his way through the tree line. With one of the shortest approach opportunities we've seen all weekend, Dickerson is over the hillside, gently sits down, and we're almost 1/3 away from completing this round on our fourth and final round at the Jonesboro Open. Ricky Wysocki still in control, however, he's flailing a little bit here on hole number 12. And you asked earlier about laying up. That's just silly talk by you, Steve Dodge. Wysocki trying to save the par. It looks like he's going to likely end with the bogey 5 here on hole 12. Lizotte for birdie.
I did talk earlier about Ricky laying up potentially. I wonder, when he putt that, did he make sure it was super duper flat so it would not roll? Simon unlucky with the kick off the post.
And McCray's birdie putt also hits metal. However, that one does sit down. Chris Dickerson left with approximately 22 feet for birdie. And Dickerson cards the birdie 3 with a left to right wind pushing on him. Lizotte will clean up for par. And Ricky right side chaining in. I believe that's going to be a bogey 5. And just the par for McCray. We're moving on to 13. We'll be back in a moment.
JohnE McCray.
Yep, it's one of the guys playing today. What about him?
He is the player with the fewest bogeys over these 4 rounds at 2. Ricky Wysocki now sitting at 4. Chris Dickerson's on the tee. A very long, challenging hole 13. He leaves that just outside circle 2. Terry, I have another trivia question for you. Which one of these 4 players has birdied this all 3 rounds?
Birdieing it all 3 rounds thus far. I have to go with the long thrower. I think he's going to make it 4 for 4 this time. Lizotte. And JohnE McCray wasting no time. Also, if he can get a skip, that's going to be on the right side in the lower lying area. He'll be putting uphill. Ricky Wysocki last on the tee and hits another tree. I have more rhymes in just some time, but first the women. Pretty much ready. And Wysocki, after hitting an early tree heading toward the pin, flashes in front of it and then filters down. Let's get back to the women's coverage. Dickerson looking to pick up a stroke, and he's done just that from way downtown. Chris Dickerson, huge birdie.
I think Chris Dickerson just made the Discraft Hot Shots section of the recap show. That was beautiful.
We'd like to thank all of our viewers who are tuned in here on Easter Sunday, one of our largest showings of the week. Thank you guys so much. Go and like and share the link. Let everyone know you're watching a battle here in Jonesboro. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined by Steve Dodge, along with Chad and Todd on the cameras. This is JohnE McCray for birdie. And a little bit of a step putt by JohnE McCray. I thought that was officially licensed only to Paul Ulibarri, but I guess Johnny can try it from time to time. This is Ricky. He's trying to save a par from Circle's Edge. And pulls that wide right again. Ricky Wysocki, lucky he has 9 strokes at the opening of this round. And Lizotte remains perfect on the weekend on hole 13, birdieing all 4 rounds. Thanks to our stats from UDisc Live, Matt and Josh. McCray will tap in, and Wysocki with the bogey. We're through 13. We're looking forward to the next long one. We'll be back in a moment.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Just do it!
And welcome back. We are here on hole number 14. James Conrad famously hit the pole earlier here on this very basket from this long tee.
Terry, I think we can officially finish this victory lap and say Ricky needs to close this thing out. He's currently up by 4. We have 3 of the 5 hardest holes left, and the 2-stroke swing on this course, as we've seen multiple times, is not out of the question.
Plus, there's going to be at least 1 ace on the next hole.
Yes. Why not do it on this hole?
Why not? Chris Dickerson on the tee. He has a very stiff right to left headwind. This is one of the highest points on the tee. In fact, this is also the 17th highest point in Arkansas.
I will go and admit that if I was throwing on this off this tee, I would like to go 2nd or 3rd or 4th to see what the wind does out there. OB comes into play on the right side very often.
And Dickerson looks to be going with something very stable. Earlier today we saw Paige Pierce do just the same. Bailing out to the left, there's nothing wrong with that. You will have an obstructed view on your approach, but long and left will work just fine. Simon Lizotte's going to put some power on this. He's got to make sure he doesn't turn it over into the right side OB.
So Ricky Wysocki has gotten a 2, a 3, and a 4. Simon Lizotte has also carded the 2. Look at this.
Oh, get it.
Whoa!
Normally you're trying to grab metal. He almost got some wood there with the huge log that the basket is set inside of.
Can I preemptively say, birdie?
And as I just mentioned a moment ago, if you turn it over and carry right, you could find OB, and that might be what JohnE McCray just did. You said you'd like to tee third or fourth. I'm not sure Ricky's game plan was to take a bogey on the previous hole so that he could tee fourth, but this is Wysocki. He will be free of trouble in terms of OB. We'll just see if he's going to be able to get up and down from there. And he may have penetrated nicely. Let's take a look at the women here on hole 14.
Oh my god, that's so bad. Maybe I'll get short of the OB.
McCray stepping up and firing. I'm not sure if he called a provisional. We'll have to see in a moment. I'm not positive if he was out of bounds or not. If he was not out of bounds, it would have been a great opportunity to call a provisional just in case that was the situation. So we'll have to see what happened in just a moment. Chris Dickerson is assessing how he's going to attack the pin. He's on the left side again. Wysocki was the tee last. It looked like Wysocki may have gotten past the island of trees, so he may have a clear opening. Dickerson, however, did not get past that island, and now he'll have to find his way either with an anhyzer up and over or with a gentle hyzer around the right side. He opts for up and over and gets caught by one of the late bushes. The gallery applauds, however. He is actually caught up and going to have a very challenging putt from where he's at. And a solid approach shot there by Wysocki.
So Simon Lizotte has a circle one putt here. Presuming he hits this, he closes it to 3. We know he can ace the next hole, so let's just call it a 2-stroke lead. We got a game already.
We certainly do. Wysocki, again, parring here on hole 14. He has just a tap in. Simon Lizotte is nothing more than a tap in himself for the birdie. They're looking for Chris Dickerson's. And it looks like it'll be Chris Dickerson next to throw. Again, Chris getting hung up by one of the final branches as he was trying to clear up and over with this very protected green. And catching a branch is his effort from the left side. Lizotte with a massive birdie here on hole 14. Wysocki will tap in. And just bogey strokes left here for McCray. Correction, that's a double bogey. And Dickerson will be in for the bogey as well. Let's move on to the ace hole, hole 15. And welcome back to hole number 15, where Simon Lizotte famously aced just yesterday. I was going to say less than 24 hours ago. He is on the tee. And today's effort is wider to the right. However, he will result with a birdie going just past the pin. Always tough to follow up an ace from the previous day. And a little better angle here by Wysocki. He's coming in just past the pin. In fact, there will likely not be an ace here, as we do not have Big Germ on the card. Dickerson's is also lower, however, that's coming in with a great angle and just past the pin. JohnE McCray's is wide right, hoping the wind pushes over. He'll be left as furthest out. Let's check in with the women from earlier on hole 15. McCray is in for the birdie. Yesterday, this card, the lead card that is, played this in 5 under par. Lizotte has to settle for the birdie today. With that, Wysocki maintains just a very slim 3-stroke lead with the most challenging hole coming up next. Well, maybe not challenging statistically, but one of the most troublesome holes that we can find. That's everyone. We're moving on to hole 16.
Are you obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose the brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to DiscGolfBoxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to DiscGolfBoxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
And welcome back to hole number 16, 855 feet. Simon Lizotte on the tee. And Simon looking to take off as much as he can on this opening drive here on the 16th tee. Simon looking to play this for the Eagle 3. And Wysocki asking for that to push left. And we'll see if he's got an angle at the pin from there. And Chris Dickerson heading straight down the fairway with a gentle fade left. We're feeling a very light left to right cross breeze here coming over our left shoulder. And McCray's is moving right side near the gallery. We'll see what position he's in from there. Let's check in with the women on this challenging hole 16.
Oh, yeah. Whoa. Here we go.
turnover shot, just like we saw from him yesterday. And welcome back, everyone. We have Ricky Wysocki just throwing his second shot. Earlier, Steve, we saw the women tee here on hole number 16, and this hole has had Paige Pierce's number. And today it seems like it's put her in plenty of trouble. You'll see the completion here as we move across the bridge shortly.
I think she currently has a one-stroke lead over Sarah. She's got some serious challenges ahead of her.
And as if he placed his mini perfectly in the fairway here, Chris Dickerson had an alley. He piped it, and he's out and over the water. It finishes left of the pin. That'll be an easy up and down to at least card the birdie 4. JohnE McCray is off on our right-hand side, and Simon is left. We'll have to see who's going to be throwing next. Looks like McCray may be getting into position to throw next. This may be a very challenging shot for all of our viewers to see. He's going to be going Anheuser out and around the trees, hoping to clear the water. And that had plenty of Anheuser. It's a matter of where it's going to finish out. And doesn't seem to be any clear indication whatsoever as we try to get into position for Lizotte. Lizotte can find himself safely on the other side. That looks to be safe, however, nowhere near the basket. And I think McCray is still looking for some kind of confirmation. Now he's asking for who has the scorecard. He may be trying to assess what he wants to do from here, and if he's OB or not. And Rebecca Heim, our Disc Golf Pro Tour photographer, has indicated that it's out of bounds. However, I now see Brad Peets, the tournament director, heading toward the OB. He may give us more of an official call. Right now, Johnny and Chris are looking at the scorecard for the official rules. And any shot that goes OB, I believe, moves directly to this drop zone, which is where Johnny is currently headed. McCray will move to the drop zone. This also will move him out of a run after Ricky at this point. And JohnE McCray officially calling a provisional just in case he is not OB. And a great shot by McCray, putting him within 20 feet of the pin. We have a long walk over to the other side. We'll be back in a moment. And we have moved along the right side of the lake here. It looks like Johnny officially retrieving his second shot, thanks to our tournament director, Brad Peets. Just a moment ago, you may have seen the snake that was located on that walk earlier today, as if this hole doesn't provide enough challenge. Also some nature to contend with. And Wysocki lofts one up from outside circle 2. Simon Lizotte can gain a stroke here. He also has to be very careful of not only the crosswind, but also the very fast green. And after not drawing metal, he has come up just short of the 10-meter circle. Chris Dickerson looking at a similar putt. He's got a wind directly at his back and throwing downhill. He can choose to be aggressive. I really think the play is just to put it under the pin. And he tried just that. It did catch edge, however, no more than 12 feet for the completion. And Simon, who had gone for the putt, goes deep. Just about a 10-meter, 9-meter comebacker. And Simon buries his face in his disc here as he does not draw metal. Again, throwing into that headwind. Steve, you and I talked about it earlier today. Anytime you're throwing into a headwind for a putt, anything can happen, and you saw he did not draw metal. That went up and over, and he's faced with a putt that's as long coming back. And high chain, and Simon collapses in dramatic fashion. McCray is in. That may have effectively ended Simon Lizotte's opportunity to make a run at Ricky here. Wysocki in hole 17 provides very as I wait for Dickerson to putt in. Hole 17, not a lot of options for trouble. I see no more than 1 or 2 strokes being handed over. Lizotte's got to make it happen now as we move on with just 2 to play. And Wysocki with the tee here on hole number 17. He's going to need to stay safe of the OB fence on the left side from this lower lying area here behind the tee. None of the players or spectators can really have any idea as to where those are landing. And Dickerson seems to make an adjustment carrying right. However, just like we saw with Big Germ yesterday, you do not want to go too far right and be hung up in the patch of trees that separates the 13 and 17 fairways. JohnE McCray asking some spectators of sorts to move out of the way, a few hundred feet down the fairway. There is plenty of trouble to be found on hole 18. However, again, 17, I expect mostly 3s, 4s, or possibly a 5 if you find some trouble. Hole 18 will be the round breaker, but right now Ricky Wysocki may have enough of a cushion that even a horrible 18th hole could push him through this. And Lizotte winds up and crushes that shot through the Zucca cart. Let's see how the women did from the shorter tee here on 17. And I see a search party, not like the Big Germ tick party we had earlier in the weekend, but search party here taking place, trying to confirm if everyone is in fact found and how close they are to the OB. I don't know if we can get an official confirmation if everyone was safe or not. Looks like TD Brad Peets is possibly retrieving a disc from the OB area. And McCray's approach lands right at the 10-meter mark. hoping that skips up just a little bit. Dickerson's going to be short of the 10-meter circle. He's trying to keep it low underneath the branches, however, also fighting with the winds. And now we feel a huge gust of wind coming from right to left. Wysocki's lining up what I believe is his harp. Very overstable mid-range that he trusts. This is a downward sloping shot. Needs just the right amount of speed because there is danger behind the basket. And with a great slide, he should recover from there. And per PDJ rules, it's always a good idea that anytime you're close to out of bounds area, you should assure your group, have one of them come over and double check that you are in fact inbounds. If you are near an OB area and you just simply get up and throw without letting anyone else check it, they can assume that you were in fact OB. So perfectly played by Simon to have another group mate double check that he was inbounds. And that is long. He'll have an uphill putt. Steve, it looks like another possible mistake here by Wysocki. And is it going to matter at this point as we're moving into 18?
I think in addition to that stroke not mattering, I think at this point statistics don't matter.
How dare you say such a thing, Steve? I've known you for a while. And I don't know if I'd ever believe that. Statistics don't matter. Ricky Wysocki is going to pull down $2,500 for his efforts this weekend. I think that statistic matters.
That statistic is wonderful. A huge thanks to Brad Peets for putting on an amazing event. $10,000 added cash. For the people that cash, that's over $300 added per person, which is an amazing number. Another amazing number, the median player's rating, the average, the guy right in the middle, 1,000. That is a very strong field here at the Spartan Mowers R&R Farm Equipment Jonesboro Open, presented by Pro Discus, while Chris Dickerson putts for birdie.
What a putt by Chris Dickerson. I'm not sure what was longer, your last lead-in or that putt, but that was beautiful by Chris Dickerson.
Chris has definitely improved his Circle 2 putting today.
And Simon Lizotte, like we saw on some of the women's footage throughout the weekend, these last three holes proved to be incredibly challenging for a number of our competitors. And Simon Lizotte yesterday not having a strong finish. And that's a solid finishing putt there on hole 17 by JohnE McCray. Just like round 2, JohnE McCray simply didn't turn over the putter as he was coming down toward the green. However, unlike round 2, he makes the putt from outside circle 1 edge. Simon with the short uphill putt, Wysocki about the same distance. And the pastel pink putter is in. We're moving on to the final hole here at the Jonesboro Open.
Sun King Discs, established in 2001. Florida's most respected name in disc sports. Official retail merchandiser of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Currently on tour supporting Discraft and DGA live inventory, free shipping at $12. All orders $19.99, ships in a box, includes single discs, large selection of both stock and collectibles. Check out the website at www.sunkingdiscs.com.
Welcome back. We're here on the 18th hole of the day, the 72nd hole and final hole of the tournament. And Nico Locastro just had a throw-in on hole 18 for birdie to put himself in third place. JohnE McCray 1 stroke behind Nico right now. And Dickerson again showing off the long arm here, going out and around. We're going to assume he's within 600 feet of the pin. And JohnE McCray opts for the center route. He's turning over out of his hand that's heading toward the right side of the fairway. Not sure if that finished out on him with a hyzer or not. Not sure there was enough air for that. And Simon also going wide right, fighting back toward the fairway. Wysocki turns over and continues to fade. Gets caught up on a tree. That is a world of hurt. Not sure it's going to matter, but we're going to go find that while you watch the women's footage here in hole 18.
Yeah. Who doesn't like a headwind through a gap down a hill? With OB on the left. Long gone.
All right, last hole.
Good luck on this last hole.
Let's go.
It's been fun. Good luck.
Yeah,
I mean, good plan, good plan.
And welcome back. We are moving down the fairway here. There is a question right now about Ricky Wysocki's drive. They are confirming the challenges. He is so far right. If you were to extend the OB line from 18, this is tough to explain, from 18's green area and the fairway further up, there is an OB line, and in theory, when it's not fully marked, this full 800 and some feet backwards, this OB line, if you were to look PDGA rules, kind of extends indefinitely along a straight line. So the question right now is, if they extend the OB line from where it is officially marked all the way back to where Wysocki is, we'll have to determine if Wysocki is in fact out of bounds, which is something no one ever thought of. We're kind of doing a human line right now and trying to determine. This is one of the craziest situations I have ever seen. Again, we have somewhat of a human line being drawn, and it's going to be officially called safe, which I think is the best possible scenario, because this was a very quirky, otherwise almost indistinguishable call to be made. I know they were doing their best to figure it out. Now there's a little bit of chaos as everyone's trying to get into position. Sorry for my rambling. I think I've explained it correctly, Steve, in that there's an OB line painted up in the fairway on 18, and if it were to be to continue down a straight line, you wanted to verify if Ricky, in fact, would have been outside of that. Is that correct?
That is correct. The last thing I want is someone who's up by 5 to have a misplay at the end of the round. And so Brad and I went ahead and continued that imaginary line. Ricky looks to be about a foot or two in or right on the line.
And Ricky's going to throw a forehand back toward the fairway, probably 200 plus feet just to get him back onto the center of the fairway. And no shortness of excitement here. I'm not sure it's going to matter. JohnE McCray will be next to throw. Johnny has a very tight window that he pitches out from. gives a big smile. He's been officially treed, I think, is the term, in more ways than one. He is placed back out into the fairway. And good to see a smile on his face. It has been a very long and grueling weekend, and Johnny going to come up short of his efforts of trying to hunt down Ricky Wysocki right now after the huge throw-in by Nico just a few minutes ago. JohnE McCray is trying to get up and down, but he's not going to be able to hold on to that third place spot. Looks like Nico LaCastro should have that wrapped up now. Johnny at best is going to be approaching and taking a par 4. Again, best case scenario. I think as we stand here on the 72nd hole of the weekend, this is really just kind of a par for the course, that nothing comes easy out here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour or even here on the Disc Side of Heaven. This course will beat you up all the way into the final hole, and then it will really beat you down.
I will say, Arkansas, God bless you if you live here. You are a tough cookie. You got ticks, you got thorns, you got poison ivy, and you got discs caught and stuff like that. And these guys are all looking in there. I'm glad Ricky threw it way to the right just to challenge that OB line that ends a good 300 feet up the fairway. And Ricky actually said to me, he said, "That's ridiculous. How could I be OB?" And I said, "We didn't expect anybody to be over here, Ricky." So I know next year, I guarantee Brad will have that line drawn past the tee probably. So here we are with, looks like we're going to Ricky's. Are we going to Ricky's third, or are we going?
No, we're going somewhere else.
Searching for Chris's.
Oh, okay.
Looks like where Chris Dickerson has found his lie in one of these very, very obstructed, thorny, nasty trees.
So
trees and bushes.
Celebrating this.
Just to
get attention that you guys are celebrating this.
Just to throw a little bit more tension into this thing, Chris Dickerson is currently 2 strokes behind JohnE McCray. He's in 5th place. Johnny's in 4th place. The difference in money, $125. If he can catch him, he can take another $100 out of Johnny's pocket that Nico's already taken a couple hundred out of.
I think we say here on the Pro Tour, it's all about the Benjamins, or something. Lizotte takes a look at the payout schedule himself. Simon has just probably maybe 1 or 2 more throws to complete the round, we're guessing.
1 or 2. I would guess 1. I'd say 2 or 3.
Simon thinks 2 or 3. And all we can see is a disc popping out. This is Chris Dickerson trying to get a forehand out and away from the nasty rough out on the right side of this fairway. That may roll, and he'll have an alley from there.
So we are joined by Jan, the creator of the Invisible String, who with us is celebrating this Arkansas weather and terrain.
Certainly do. And the way you really dig these thorny edges of the fairways, like, it's good.
Again, no shortage of challenges here. JohnE McCray trying to get up toward that pin so he could possibly finish this off with a par. We're going to move down the fairway. Simon Lizotte had a huge crush. He's about 300 feet from the pin.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it, Terry. If he sinks this, he'll be 36 down. That means Ricky has to go up and up and up and down to tie.
We need somebody to yell the obligatory, "Get in the hole." And not so much. Simon said it would take 2 or 3 shots to finish this out, and we'll see where he is from there. As we move down, though, we would like to thank you guys for tuning in this entire weekend here on the 4th stop of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We're here in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I'd like to thank Pro Discus as one of our primary sponsors here. Also, a lot of great support. Brad Peets and the rest of his crew, along with Spartan Mowers. What an amazing place to be, and I'm glad we could visit for the first time.
If you are anywhere near the middle of Arkansas and you want to get yourself a Spartan mower, R&R Farm Equipment is the place to go to get it. They're the people who brought these mowers out on the course. Chris Dickerson, I'll go ahead and just say for birdie.
.260 feet to the pin. The forehand is short and right. Ricky Wysocki throwing his 3rd shot. And he's looking for that to finish left. Hung it a little wide. He's got a few strokes to play with here. He's not sure if it's safe. I believe that it is. Of course, we'd also like to invite you to tune in on Tuesday night on Smashbox TV. Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, will be recapping this tournament. Also be talking about what's coming up in the future over the next few weekends. One of our next stops covering live disc golf will, of course, be at the Jonesboro Open, a PDGA National Tour event that's taking place in just 2 short weeks. And the Disc Golf Pro Tour will resume first weekend in June at the Utah Open. Looking forward to going to another new state to bring you live disc golf here in 2017. Utah is not a new state. I think that's going to stay for a while, actually. I just wanted to clarify for all the haters out there that want to second guess anything I'm telling them.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that Arkansas is the 29th state to join the Union. Not 29th in any kind of rank.
Number 1 this weekend. That carried up and over for Chris Dickerson. Thought we were going to see our last few pump fakes of the round, but Dickerson is going to have a tester as a comeback putt. Solid finish by JohnE McCray. That's going to put him in sole possession of 4th place.
31 down.
31 under par, winning $14,000. Is that right?
Simon Lizotte's winning $1,800, which is a pretty good weekend. Interesting thing about Chris Dickerson, if he hits this comebacker, he'll be at 28 down. There is a two-way tie at 26 down, so he does not want a 3-putt.
I would agree. Dickerson's effort is short. He's going to tap out, give the customary final putt to the foregone champion here in Wysocki. He's struggled throughout, however, enough cushion here today. And Wysocki's got a light grin on his face again. He knows he's got a few to give. And Ricky Wysocki getting the congratulations by the rest of his card mates. Solid performance here. We're going to have Ricky Wysocki add up his scorecard. And there you have it. We're going to be back with Ricky Wysocki in a few minutes. We're going to give him some time. He's going to add up his scorecard. Then he'll come back and talk with us. Johnny V's got a little more action for you. Stay tuned. You're watching the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Wait, give us 10 seconds. Johnny, bring it back. And Ricky Wysocki's adding up his scorecard along with the rest of the card mates. We're going to get him for an interview here in just a moment. He's first going to collect his cart. JohnE McCray and the rest of the group also making sure. And Ricky will collect his things, and then we'll have him join us here for a quick interview. Again, I want to make sure all the scores are correct. Yeah, I'm ready, buddy. Are you ready? Here we go. I think we're ready. All right. Nico almost pulled it off there. He gets a big throw-in on 18, and now he can't even douse you. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. I'm joined by our champion, Ricky Wysocki. Ricky, is it fair to say you're happy you had a 9-stroke lead today? Things weren't going your way out there.
Yeah, I had a few early bounce outs that really killed a lot of my momentum that I had built up for the first 3 rounds. And I knew I got a feeling it was going to be one of those kind of days. And so I just I've learned to fight through those kind of days and just you take what you can get. Those kind of days, the way I played today and the type of breaks I had, it's really hard to fight over, break through the all the momentum that's fighting against me. So I really think I did a good job for as bad as I played and as bad of breaks I got. I just hung in there and, like I said, hung on to the 9-stroke lead.
Well, Simon Lizotte got to within 3 strokes of you. That was back on hole 16. But then, as we saw with some of the women this weekend, hole 16 can come out and bite you, and it did on Simon. Were you finally a little comfortable? Could you take a breath as you walked to 17's tee then?
Yeah, I wasn't really, there wasn't, I think that was the problem, is there wasn't really too much pressure. And I think I would have played a lot better if there was more, maybe 3 or 4 strokes. So it was definitely a very weird spot. I'm not used to playing like that. And, like I said, I just battled through, with, like I said, all the bad breaks and momentum seemed to be fighting against me. So I just fought through it.
Well, hashtag Wysocki problems. You have too much of a lead. You need more pressure, more challenge, apparently. You performed very well. Steve Dodge has said it multiple times. If you're in the lead after round 1 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, you close it out. And you did that here. What's next for you?
Yeah, I'm taking a weekend off here next weekend, and then I'm regrouping and getting ready for GBO in a few weeks. So it'll be a well-earned a week off, and I think I'm going to go to Bowling Green. So come check me out. I'll have a booth set up there, and then like I said, I'm going to take it easy and recuperate, refill the mental well, like I always say. So I depleted it a little bit this week, and this round especially.
Well, 4 very grueling rounds out here at the Disc Side of Heaven. We have to thank Brad and his entire staff, all of the supporters and sponsors of the event. Thank you guys so much. Ricky Wysocki, you're going to head back to the Glassblown Open. That's also the site of where you won the World Championships. I think you know that, but what's that going to feel like as you're getting back onto those special grounds?
It's going to feel great. I mean, just the great memories from last year, and I think that's going to really help me and make me feel at home. And so I feel like that really is going to maybe help me in the tournament, and knowing I've been in a lot of situations and scenarios throughout a long tournament like the Worlds, and same as GBO.
Okay. Again, that's Ricky Wysocki, your champion. We'd like to congratulate Paige Pierce on her very hard-fought battle on the women's side. Her, Sarah Hokom, Jessica Weese battling back and forth throughout the weekend. We're glad we could bring you as much of that coverage as possible here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So I'm going to go ahead and close things out. It's been a great week here in Jonesboro. My first time in Arkansas. I got Ricky. It's my first time in Arkansas. I'm glad it was you, not me. Thank you to Johnny B back at the controls, along with Gary to the O, Steve Dodge of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Todd Dodge on camera, along with Chad Inman on the camera and capturing that Simon Lizotte ace. For Ricky, the Disc Golf guy, this has been the Disc Golf Pro Tour from Jonesboro. We'll see you next time when you step inside the Smash Box.